Welcome to the Midwest Game Nerds podcast. I'm your host, John, and here with me today is Brian.
Hey.
And Alex.
Hello.
While you're listening or even watching along, we're streaming on Twitch right now and possibly YouTube. We're not sure if it's actually working. Why not head over to MidwestPodcastNetwork.com/support and check out all the various ways you can support us. We got a support store where you can buy hoodies and beer koozies and t-shirts, and you can also just donate if you'd like to. You can also check out the Amazon affiliate link on our website so that whenever you make a purchase on Amazon, it gives us a little bit of money from that. And don't forget to rate and review us on all your favorite podcatchers like iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Podcast. Any of those podcast places where you can rate and review us, please do, because that gives us a little more exposure, lets people know how sweet we are and how much you enjoy us.
Makes us feel loved.
We would really appreciate that. And as always, if you like what you hear, or even if you don't, please do send us feedback via email at midwestgamenerds@gmail.com or via Twitter at MGNPodcast. And don't forget to add us on Instagram at MidwestGameNerds. Today, we are going to talk about some game news alongside a review of Nintendo's Fire Emblem Heroes and Team Ninja's Nioh. But before we do that, what else have you guys been playing, Brian?
More Dishonored 2.
Yeah. You
finally finished it.
Yeah, you beat it.
Yeah. The last mission took way longer than I expected because I ran into that same bug I had in like mission 5 or something.
But you were saying last night that you're not even sure if it's a bug. There's just another way around that particular level.
I'm pretty sure it's a bug.
Okay.
Because you activate the power to an elevator and all of a sudden 2 to 3 people die randomly.
Do they get electrocuted?
I don't know.
You shouldn't turn it on when they're below the elevator.
Yeah, don't do that.
Well, so when I was trying to look up ways to get around this, I found out that there's just an alternate route you can take. You don't even have to activate the elevator. So I did that instead.
Yeah, maybe you're not supposed to.
But that was after hours of going around the entire palace and trying to choke out every last person and make sure that they were safely tucked away somewhere.
Maybe you were killing the elevator maintenance guy.
Yeah, it must be it.
He was up in the closet trying to put the gears on, and you just slashed him in half.
There was a wolfhound on top of the elevator, which is not supposed to be there, I'm sure.
Yeah, so maybe it is a bug.
Yeah, well, for the most part, the game was bug-free. Like it crashed on me, I think, once. But overall, it was like pretty smooth frame rate and just enjoyable overall. However, I gotta say, like, unless you're trying to get all the trophies, to not try to do the clean hands trophy because it just takes way too long.
Yeah. To
play that way, and it starts to just not be fun after a while. Like, you just want to kill people.
I think that was kind of my problem with the game in the first place. It's like if you're not significantly rewarded for not killing anybody,
you get a different ending.
Maybe you get a different ending or whatever, which is fine.
But you can balance things out. You can get a low chaos ending that's not like the perfect ending by just killing a few people here and there. It's like it doesn't count against you entirely.
Okay. Well, that's good. But I don't know. Unless you can get like big boss rank, I don't think there's any reason to not kill people in video games.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anything else?
Very little bit of the For Honor beta. I didn't really get into it like I did the last time.
Yeah, you and Zach were playing last night.
Yeah.
And we were in a party chat.
I was really tired at that point. And
Brian was getting really angry.
Yeah.
He needed some huge dudes.
Some huge dudes to help him out.
Whatever.
But he was getting angry against bots, and then he was like, I just want to play against humans. And so then
because people make mistakes, and these bots were not making mistakes.
They switched to the human players, and it was just the same game. Like, he was just as angry.
No, well, yeah, it was just as angry, but
mad.
They weren't doing the same things to irritate me. They were doing different things to irritate me. Like, they were just playing good and being smart. The bots are annoying because they will just attack you constantly and somehow like not run out of stamina, and then when you finally think you have an opening, you're just opening yourself up to get hit again.
Yeah,
I just feel like it's just like a never-ending barrage of attacks with the bots.
Zach said frustrations abound, and Joey says For Honor is life.
There you go.
Well, I liked Dishonored better than For Honor.
Yeah, okay. So. Honored. I honor your opinion.
Yeah.
And would you say you'd give the Medal of Honor to Dishonored?
Yes. Sure. Whatever.
Medal of Honor For Honor to Dishonored.
Yeah. Do you think either of the games feel honored for Brian?
I will say now that I've played Nioh and I've played For Honor. I think I'd rather own Nioh.
Okay.
And I was
spoiler alert
going
for the rest of this
completely
episode.
the other direction before, but it only took me like an hour and a half of playing Nioh to actually want to play more.
For sure.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Any other things you've played besides those or no?
Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
A little bit. I think
Alex,
that's it.
What about you?
I beat Resident Evil 7. I played all 10 hours of that game.
This is the first Resident Evil you've actually beaten, right?
No, that's not true. I've beaten 2. I've beaten 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
And
so most of them.
One of the 3DS ones. So
I didn't even know they had some on 3DS.
Yeah, they put one on 3DS, which was actually pretty good in the wake of Resident Evil 6. Or it was actually a little bit before Resident Evil 6, and it was probably the superior game. But no, I beat Resident Evil 7. I
and
played
you did it all in VR.
All in VR. I have not booted that game up in non-VR mode once in my PlayStation as of yet.
Now that's pretty impressive.
And
how wet is your couch from urine?
It's not. No, it's good. With my trick that I talked about last time of zooming out the VR mask, I did okay. But no, I will say the end of the game is not quite what I was expecting.
Okay.
Not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing. So I'm looking forward to maybe sitting down and talking with Willie about that, or maybe if Jason's finished, or if you finish it.
Well, Jason, I think, was finished when we did our podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so maybe we can all sit down and do like a spoiler cast.
Of course, he wasn't here, but
open all the way up about it. But no, that game is fantastic. Like it's maybe it's an early contender for Game of the Year for me because of how awesome it is with the VR. So super happy that I finished that. And that's Resident Evil.
If somebody doesn't have dibs on that, I might want to borrow it.
Yeah, I can lend it to you.
Although I'm kind of depressed about the idea of playing it without VR.
Yeah, you should really only play it in VR. But yeah. So just throw down the $3.99 and get some VR.
But it's more like 400 or 500.
Yeah,
because
500.
You just need the camera.
You need the camera.
And
so
well, for that game, I don't need the Move controller.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there you go. Do it. Pony it up. But anyway,
then I'd want a Pro, so that's another $400.
Well, get a better job. I don't know.
Just don't buy as much booze.
Yeah. Yeah, don't go to the bar for a couple nights.
Then you'll be good.
Okay, whatever.
And then I finished not Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask on the 3DS as well.
It's been a productive week. 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, it has. And it was quite good. Oh, the Resident Evil 7 theme song is what Zach is quoting in the chat. Go tell Aunt Rhody.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that theme song is really weird, and you guys should go check it out if you haven't heard it yet. But no, Majora's Mask, finished it. It's a really cool game. I'm glad I collected all the masks before I started going through the final boss stuff, because if you do, then you get a super sweet mask that makes you really overpowered. But it's awesome. And the 3DS version, I assume, is easier, and obviously it's a lot easier on the eyes too, but I think it's easier than the 64 version. And if anybody turned away from Majora's Mask but has a 3DS and has been thinking about maybe going back to it, I would give it another try because it's great. And then finally, I started playing in the midst of all this Fire Emblem going on. I was like, I should go back to the beginning of Fire Emblem. And they put out a remake of the original game on DS a while ago. It's called Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon. And God, that game's hard.
They're all hard.
It's hard. I end up quitting the missions like halfway through.
Even the damn mobile game's hard.
Yeah, but like that one, at least, like, the interesting thing is that there are some points in that Fire Emblem game where you are on the battlefield and there are people that you can talk to and turn them to your side. But if the right character isn't there at the right time, then you could just end up killing them. And the way that you know is that, you get into a battle with them and they have an actual portrait instead of just like generic soldier portrait. And then you end up just completely destroying them in that one turn. And you're like, oh my God, I had no idea that I could even have that guy.
Right.
It kind of sucks. But it's great. It's definitely Fire Emblem. The graphics are a little weird on the 3DS or on the DS one. It's not quite. They went kind of 3D rendering with it, which is weird because I I guess the newer ones, Fire Emblem Awakening and Birthright and Conquest and all that stuff, they kind of have some hand-drawn stuff in them, and then they also have, like, I don't know, I guess kind of chibi, super deformed 3D versions of them. But it looks a lot nicer to me than the weird stuff that they tried to do on the DS. But overall, it's good. It's a lot of fun. And if you've gotten into Fire Emblem Heroes and you want to check out another Fire Emblem, I would recommend one of the DS or Game Boy Advance ones before going to the 3DS ones, because those ones have a lot more to them.
Right on.
In terms of like
the 3D.
No, a little bit. But more along the lines of like, oh, you can develop relationships between these characters and they can have children, but you have to min-max.
Yeah, nobody needs that.
You have to min-max the relationships to get the best offspring.
It's a Japanese game, dude.
Yeah.
You definitely need that.
Yeah. But anyway.
I don't play very many Japanese games.
Yeah.
So.
But that's about it. That's everything that I've been playing.
That's cool. I've only really played the 2 games that we're reviewing. So
that's cool.
I'm not going to get into that at all.
I did have some feedback that I could bring up, and our friend Jason Kimmel, who came over from Film Nerds, bought a PSVR just to play Resident Evil 7.
Hell yeah.
And
nice.
And he was talking to me about it. I actually tipped him off. I was like, hey, go to Target right now. I hear they got a bunch of them in stock, so please go get one. Because he was like, I can't find one, and I'm not playing Resident Evil till I can get one. But he finally got one. He checked it out. I recommended a few things to him, like Res Infinite and Batman and all the, like, you know, the standbys that we've been talking about, and he's apparently enjoyed it quite a bit. He sent back a picture. He's like, this is me after playing a few hours of Resident Evil 7 and Res Infinite. And it's just a picture of him beaming. I was good.
Okay.
So I'm glad you enjoyed it. No, it was not his member.
No, I was like thinking, was he sitting in a
puddle of
his own?
No, not everybody has a weak
Excrement.
bladder like you when they play Resident Evil 7, apparently. So, but yeah. Zach says every JRPG has a romance simulator built in nowadays. That's 100% true.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, yep.
Cool. Yeah, no, I haven't played anything else. I've only played the stuff we're reviewing.
Yeah.
I think, right? Yeah, I think that's right.
I think you had Bloodborne on one of these days.
Yeah, I flicked it on for a second to kind of prep myself for Nioh.
Okay.
And because like,
but then you realized how lost you were, and you're just like,
well, I started over.
There's no way I'm ever starting that game.
I think it's the third or fourth time. Yeah. So I started a new character in Bloodborne.
Too many screams and tears went into getting as far as I did in that game. Yep. So I'm never starting over. No matter how lost I feel.
That's good.
Well, that's the thing. Every time I start over, I feel like I'm able to breeze through the whole intro part. Like,
well, yeah, you can. But if you want to breeze through the whole intro part, you can just go back to the intro part. That's what I did. Like, I just took with my old game. I went back to the intro level. That's the thing. Just to get myself in the
because I have all the save games still from my previous characters. So I went to the one that was the furthest. And I jumped in and I was like, I don't remember where the fuck I am or what I'm doing here or like why I'm in this area or what there is to even do here. So then it's just like, fuck it, I'll just start over. So I started over.
It is a little difficult to remember like the layout of some of those maps.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I was running around and I couldn't remember the placement of the enemies.
Yeah.
And so I've got things jumping out of like hiding spots and I'm just like, damn it. Like, why did I? And I was getting anxious again playing it. And I was like, I don't want to feel this way. So I switched. I started over.
That's the best part of that game.
Well, and the art style of the game sometimes makes it really hard to spot those things.
Yeah.
Even like so,
they
it's
blend
just kinda,
in. Everything has that like, you know, it's really well done.
Man, I wish you would have gotten to the last part. Well, I got past that part the last time I played, but the forest with all the like piles of slithering snake people and like the dudes where their heads pop off and they have snakes coming out of their neck. That would scare the shit out of you.
I heard there's a part of that game where there are just invisible enemies that can kill you in one hit, so I'm super excited to get to that part.
The ones that creep me out every time is there's these little like old man dudes. I don't know, they're like half the height of a normal person, maybe a third of the height. And they'll like get up on your head and like start like opening your skull.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
It's horrifying to watch.
I just remember finding like getting to the point where I could walk around the woods and not being able to see any of the enemies in the woods because they blend so well. Like they blend in so well to the background that like you couldn't see them from a distance even. So
Zach says, try playing through the game using the entire game using the cane whip. Incoming sponsorship from Morton. I assume because of how salty you will be the entire time.
I never mastered the cane whip. I'm a big pussy and I use the axe most of the time.
The axe.
The axe is my favorite for sure.
Well, it's
wide
like,
reach.
Yeah, it's like the noob weapon. I felt really safe behind that one.
Yeah. The Kirk hammer's awesome though.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the weapons are awesome. They're
Mr. Bula in the chat says more dog. So
that's Pat.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hi, Pat. But
show him your wiener.
Yeah. She's here for everybody to see. Yeah, Bloodborne.
Yeah. Anyways, news bits. You had some news bits.
Yeah, there's a bunch of news. E3 tickets are going to be open to the public this year for one of the first times, if not the first time, at least in modern E3 capacity. But I think they're letting 15,000 people in, from what I heard. And I think that's cool, but kind of weird. Because I was listening to a few different podcasts talk about it, and they were all kind of like, well, it's going to suck having that many more people around there. But the other problem is that, like, if people are paying money to attend E3 and they can't make the special press appointments that people who are in the press get to make, then you're not really, it's going to be you standing in a line for 12 hours to play 10 minutes of,
Yeah. I'd much rather go to PAX.
That's kind of like
because PAX was kind of designed for.
PAX is designed for consumers to come up and play. Like you can go to the indie mega booth and check out a bunch of indie games really quickly, play them all very easily.
Plus, it sounds like one big party too.
So Pat says I also opened this in the Windows 10 app, but I don't think chat is working there. That's weird. I don't know if that's on our end or his.
I wouldn't use the Windows 10 app.
Yeah, just go on the web.
Yeah.
But so E3. We're not going to go. Not this year anyway.
No.
One of these times we'll go to one of these
trade shows or conventions.
Yeah.
But, the president of Nintendo in Japan said that Nintendo Switch Online cost will be about 2,000 to 3,000 yen per year, which roughly, if you don't, not the direct exchange rate, but roughly will end up meaning it'll be $20 to $30 for a year of their online service.
That's not so bad. But what are you getting for the $20 to $30?
Yeah, that's kind of what we don't know yet.
You get 1 or 2 games that you can play only for that month.
Yeah.
I don't really
which is like
spotty online service.
Which is like, that's okay. I mean, for what you're getting, it's okay. At least it's not $60 for that.
There's no Miiverse anymore either, which I don't really know what that is all about, and it's probably stupid anyway.
Miiverse was cool, but we'll see if they figure out a way to work it in. But yeah, from what I understand, it seems like this is just going to give you access to those games and chat through your phone, but we'll see,
Yeah.
Who knows? A lot more to understand about that. And in other Switch news, they're going to do a Splatoon 2 global test fire, which is what they call their betas for Splatoon for some reason. It's going to be March 24th through 26th. There's going to be a bunch of 1-hour periods that you can play through the game.
You guys were like less than a month away.
I know.
I'm really excited for new hardware.
That just dawned on me like right now.
We're like 2 weeks away at this point.
That's
essentially
pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I also have a new television to plug it into.
That's cool.
Really?
Yeah, we bought a new TV for the living room.
I don't think you told me about it.
It was a $250 Best Buy exclusive Roku Sharp. Okay. And it has the better picture than my Plasma and my other LG combined. It looks incredible.
Is it 4K?
No, it's not. It's just 1080p. I don't need 4K. I don't pay for that shit. It's
way
too expensive. It's $250, and it looks amazing. And the speakers sound good. It's got down-firing speakers. I want to plug some kind of gaming console in it just to see how the games look. But we watched John Wick on it yesterday, and I was blown away by how good that TV looks.
That's awesome.
How big is it? Do you say?
It's 43 inches.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. So look on. I can go through it. Friday, March 24th, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I don't even know if that's EST or EDT. So look it up if you want to know.
Japanese time.
When Splatoon, it could be. And you're going to be playing at 5 in the morning.
Right.
But yeah, check that out if you are interested. We might hop on there since we will all have Switches, and that would be fun to do. But yeah, so that's happening. There's a few other quick things before we get to kind of the bigger story. Steam Greenlight is going to go away. That was kind of their early access. That was their way of stepping away from curating the games that go into the store.
Was it early access?
Well, it was allowing the people that are in Steam to vote on what games they want to get a release in Steam. And the thing is that it allowed developers to pay $100 and then they could submit a bunch of different games. But the problem was that Steam saw like 40% of the video games that are released on it last year. Like 40% of all of the video games on Steam were released last year. 40%,
that's
almost
insane.
half.
Wow.
And it's a lot of garbage, and people have noted that. So they are now doing something called Steam Direct, which it's going to cost much more than $100, and it will be only for one game, supposedly up to $5,000. That you have to pay in order to launch your game in Steam. So hopefully it will
I mean, if your game doesn't suck, you'll make that $5,000 back.
That's
in like a week.
the point. That's
Not
kind of
even
the point
week.
of it. So hopefully it'll, cut down on some of the crap that's in the store.
I mean, it sucks for the little guy who can't can't afford that, I guess. But
And
the one man.
I think with all the crowdsourcing and stuff now, you can put money aside for that.
It seems like they're kind of they're a bit up in the air about things at the moment. So they could be maybe working out things where you could pay a lower rate if you're an indie developer or something like that, or maybe it's less if you've had other successful releases on Steam or something. But there's not a lot of news on it yet. Just that they want to get rid of Greenlight.
Maybe a variable rate, but the cap is $5,000.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So. Yeah, more on that later. Call of Duty may head back to World War II this year. Anybody care?
No. Yeah. They're just doing that because Battlefield did so well.
Yeah, and, I heard people were really happy with the Infinite Warfare. That's the one that came out this year, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really happy with the story of Infinite Warfare.
That's what I heard, too.
One of the best out of those games.
But campaign's back. That was one of the Game Informer articles from the past couple of months. Is that
Titanfall 2,
like
it's great.
First-person shooter campaigns are like on point.
Yeah, I was very
year.
Impressed with the Titanfall 2 campaign.
Yeah, so it seems a little weird that they might be dialing a lot of that back, but at the same time, like, what are they going to do? You can't go much bigger than space unless you're like fighting God. Maybe it'll be like Star Trek Episode 6.
Oh, no, isn't that 5 that they go to the center?
Zach's saying that
universe. Yeah, that one's horrible.
He bought into a few Greenlight games and he'll never do it again.
Yeah, there were a few things that came through that should have come through.
Yeah,
I think like Stardew Valley might have been a Greenlight game, and a bunch of other games that actually got really big were Greenlight, but few and far between. So, The Last Guardian is now $40, permanent price drop.
Go buy it.
Go pick it up. It's awesome. And then a few other things. The creators of Adventure Time are making a Castlevania show for Netflix. It's supposed to be out this year.
Super exciting.
I didn't catch that detail.
Yeah.
The creators of Adventure Time.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
There's not a lot of information as to whether or not it's live action or not.
I think it's going to be an anime.
It might be an anime.
Which I'm
it
okay
might not
with
be.
because if the art style is anything like the Castlevania series has been in the past few years, I'm down with that. That's cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty rad.
Past 2 decades,
I should say. Yeah.
They said that they want to make it super violent. They want to make it,
it needs to be
R-rated. They want to get away from the sparkly vampire bullcrap of Twilight, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they're headed in the right direction, but I'm excited to see more.
It follows the Belmonts again.
Yeah.
And Alucard is going to be a bad guy.
Okay, that's cool.
I think that's what I picked up from one of the articles.
The guy who's been producing it, I think his name is Adi Shankar. He produced that Joseph Kahn Power Rangers short.
Yep.
He says he's been working on it for like 10, 15 years at this point. So it seems like he's a pretty big fan, and it's a passion project for him.
So it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Joey's asking total gameplay hours for Last Guardian. I think I put like 12 hours into it. maybe 13, something like that.
But there's
not
probably
bad.
more you can.
There's
right?
you could go back and do some more. There's like items and things that you can get, like other things that I'm unaware of at the moment. There's more to do, but it's
for
really
$40. I definitely say that's fine.
yeah.
60. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
And Zach's quoting Castlevania
Yes.
now. You steal men's souls and make them your slaves.
Yeah, let's just hope the dialogue isn't anything like that. A little less wooden.
I mean, if it is, whatever. Like, I'll still enjoy it.
or at least some quality wood.
Alucard.
That's a reference to Nioh that we haven't talked about.
Okay,
yet.
that's good. Yeah, maybe they'll have flashbacks that are
right.
that look like the video game. I don't know.
What is a man? What does he say?
Oh,
a miserable pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you.
Anyway, we're nerds. And then the big story that kind of
the dialogue is like the best part of that game.
That's not true.
No, the game itself fucking rules.
Yeah. Zach's still quoting more, which is good. PlayStation 4 firmware 4.5. Some of the details have come out. It's probably going to come out soon, probably by the end of the month from the way that they've done these announcements.
You got to be careful rotating your mic.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm sorry. Let me get your camera back on.
I want to be centered in the frame.
But
Superstar.
So some details. We've got external hard drive support. You will be able to download games directly to the hard drive and play them off of
Thank God, because my hard drive is full now.
Yeah, it's good.
That was one of the reasons why I was thinking about getting a Pro, just to have a larger hard drive.
Since I've upgraded to the Pro, I haven't had to delete anything yet, but I'm probably getting close. So we'll see. But yeah, that's awesome. I think they said it will support up to 8 terabyte drives. So
Sweet.
There's going to be plenty of space for people that need it. And then 3D Blu-ray playback is coming to PSVR.
That's really exciting.
So it will actually be 3D in the headset instead of just being cinematic.
Bust
mode.
out your Avatar Blu-rays, guys.
Tron.
No, the day that comes out, I'm throwing Tron immediately into the PlayStation and watching it because
that's gonna be
butt naked
awesome.
Except for the PSVR headset.
I'm wondering if you tilt your head, if it will actually look like kind of a 3D model at all
That'd
or not.
be sweet.
Like how is it going to look? So I'm excited.
Puts you in it a little more.
Yeah.
You look down and you're wearing Tron leggings.
So there's a few other details. I can't remember exactly what they are. There's nothing too crazy that they've announced so far. There's one thing that's come out from everybody that's been beta testing it that may or may not be in the final release, and it's a little thing called Boost Mode for PlayStation 4 Pro.
Also known as Beast Mode.
Yeah.
Yes. So what it does is it unlocks the higher clock speed for any games that were released before the Pro came out and that have not gotten a PS4 Pro patch. So games like Bloodborne will have better performance. They won't be quite as stuttery as I was playing through it today. And
they've shown some videos on the internet of the gameplay in Beast Mode.
There are several games that look a lot better. There's apparently a list of a few games that do not work at all. And this is a checkbox that you'd be able to uncheck and go back to playing the games normally if you would like to do. So you're not pot committed to upgrading or not upgrading. It'll just be an option you can move or remove. But things like launch games like what's it called? Killzone Shadowfall apparently was running very well. Battlefield 4 apparently ran fantastically, like on PC levels at this point.
You only sent me the Bloodborne ones, and it looked amazing.
Yeah, and I watched it. There's like a 15-minute Digital Foundry video where they play a bunch of games side by side with the beast mode on and off, and it looks like there's pretty much better performance all around.
Well, that would make sense.
Well, the other thing is
like on a PC.
So what they did something. Assassin's Creed Unity was the one that came out that was super broken.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, it works flawlessly on beast mode.
Interesting.
Which is cool.
It would have been it was a nice looking game, but it was so like
it was just
clunky
buggy
feeling.
and weirdly performing. But
yeah.
The other thing that was that I forgot to mention also, we can talk about it in news. Fallout 4 got a PS4 Pro patch. It now renders at 1440p, and there's like new god rays and all kinds of. It looks a lot prettier. I played it for like 10 minutes just to see how it is. Looks prettier. I ran around Diamond City and didn't get any stuttering, so the performance is up a little bit. but apparently it performs even better with boost mode without the patch.
Huh.
So it doesn't look as good. It's not rendering higher. Because they added in they're rendering it higher, and they're also adding in the God rays.
Yeah,
so
obviously if you're rendering it higher, you're gonna take a frame rate cut.
Yes, yeah. So that, but the other problem is that if you've already upgraded to the point where you got that update, then you can't roll back to the next update. So you'd be dealing with disk level bugs and things for Fallout, which is not.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It's not a good way to play a Fallout game. Joey's asking, can they boost load times for PlayStation menus? The Pro is already a lot faster in PlayStation menus. I never had any
problems
slowdown.
with my menus.
Yeah. Maybe
that's
make
like
some.
The best part compared to the Xbox is how quick the menus are.
Joey, maybe you should make some folders and condense things down a bit, and maybe it'll make it load a little bit quicker. But the Pro is already pretty fast for that. Apparently, the some load times for games do get better with boost mode as well, which is cool.
Sweet.
But yeah, so that may or may not be out with firmware 4.5. They've kind of been a little dodgy with it. This is just kind of the beta period for it.
Right.
But hopefully it'll be out within one of the next, hopefully by 5.0 at least. But yeah, we'll see. I think at this point they should just put it out because everybody's like, it's making these games work a lot better, and we can turn it off if it doesn't help us. Mm-hmm. So just do it.
Right on.
Do it.
It's cool. That's good.
I want a Pro, but I got to buy a Switch.
Yeah.
That's where my money's going.
That's fair. No, I mean, the Pro is nice.
I don't either. I have no reason to buy it because my PlayStation 4 works fine. If it died tomorrow, I would go buy a Pro.
I'm just waiting for mine to die. I want it to die, and then I'll buy a Pro.
I would rather not die. I'd rather somebody be like, hey, dude, you want to buy a Pro? I'll buy your PlayStation 4 off of you. And then I would sell it to them for like $200 or less. I don't care. Like, whatever.
There you go.
But I eventually I'll get a Pro. I definitely need new controllers for my PlayStation.
If anyone
4.
wants to buy my PlayStation, I'll buy a Pro.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't want 2 PlayStations.
Brian will sign it, and we'll make him put on some lipstick and kiss it too, so you can see how small his mouth actually is.
Yeah.
And then,
that's just weird.
It's only $225. There you go.
That's more than I was going to ask, but that's okay.
If you pay $250, then he won't kiss it.
If Brian did in fact use lipstick, the stick would last forever because he'd barely have to put any on. Anyways, Fire Emblem. Let's talk about Fire Emblem.
Yeah, Fire Emblem Heroes.
So Fire Emblem Heroes is Nintendo's newest game on mobile platforms. It's on iOS and Android. It is your basic tactical RPG, just like Fire Emblem, but it's scaled down to a four-person party versus it's usually 4 versus 3 or 4 versus 4
on like a 7x7 grid or something like
6x8.
6x8, whatever.
It's
or 8x6, one of the two.
In my opinion, it's the perfect. This Fire Emblem Heroes is the perfect way to have a strategy game like this on a mobile platform.
Yeah, it
plays really well. It loads really quick. The artwork is beautiful. The music is pretty cool. It's pretty epic at the times.
Yeah.
I just like how well it plays. I played it for hours, and every time you log in, you get bonuses and things
Damn, I should be logging in.
I've been logging in every day, even if I couldn't play for
That's
a minute.
That's how they get you.
Yeah,
because they'll give you two orbs.
See, I don't even know what to do with it.
But that's the thing. I
haven't played it long enough.
I ended up getting like a 5 orb bonus at one point for some reason, and then I also got 10,000 hero feathers. So
they did that.
Randomly logging in whenever, like you may get a sweet surprise.
Yeah. So
cool.
We can talk about kind of so it's a free game. But you can buy different things that allow you to either level up your characters or allow you to summon new characters, which are the orbs. And kind of the way it goes is that it'll cost you 20 orbs to pull 5 characters. And it starts with 5 orbs for one character and goes all the way down to 3 orbs for the last character in order to add up to 20, obviously. That's how you do your full 5 pull. Because otherwise, if you did 5 characters off the bat, it would cost you 25 orbs. So that's kind of okay, it'll be cheaper if you do it all at once. But yeah, so it plays like your Final Fantasy Tactics or your Ogre Battle or Shining Force or however you want, or your Fire Emblem.
Any of your turn-based strategy RPGs.
And
speaking of strategy games, a little off topic, but I just read about before we came here that the people from FTL were making a tactical strategy game.
That's cool.
Turn-based, yeah.
Awesome.
I think it's called Into the Void or something.
All right, I'm down.
Yeah.
Sweet.
XCOM is another one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
this is scaled down though. Like the strategy, there's each character has one move and that's it, and you kind of have to like. Well, some of them could have two.
You can equip abilities.
Yeah,
and
there's certain
like
abilities that you can get. There's like mega, like I don't know what they're called, like the super attacks.
Yeah,
they're kind of like a super. When a character performs up to four actions, it activates the super and you can use it. Those sorts of things you can equip. And you can change out weapons and like change out different skill sets and things like that. But it's you really only have like 1 to maybe 2 actions per character, and you can only take 1 action per turn.
Yeah.
The only way you can do 2 actions is if you move and attack in the same turn. And it has to be, you basically like select the attack that you want to make, and then it automatically will move your character adjacent.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Sometimes you get characters that have a support skill that will allow them to allow other characters to move and fight again.
Right.
But yeah.
And I've also seen the support skill where enemies can pull your characters like, further away from your party.
Yeah. You can do some of the axe users have things that will push an enemy back a space.
Yep.
Which will allow another person to come in and fight them. Or some people can pull somebody out so that they'll be within reach of another one of your characters.
Yep.
More often than not, the enemy team has it and they use it on you, which really sucks.
Yeah,
when it happens.
There's a lot of little strategy things that I'm still uncovering playing this game.
There's that whole like paper, rock, scissors attack thing too.
So swords are good against axes, which are good against lances, which are good against swords, which is kind of how that works. Sometimes, I don't know if there's any of them in this game yet, but sometimes you can unlock a weapon that will allow you to reverse that cycle and have a lance that's really good against axes instead of poor against
surprise lance.
Yeah. But no, all of the elements feel really good. A battle never takes more than like 3 to 5 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
But you can suspend it even at that point, which is great. There's I guess the other hooks that we can talk about is that there's stamina, which you spend stamina every time you do a battle.
Yep. And basic story battles only take 1 stamina.
Yeah, like 1 or 2. They escalate as you go further in the story.
And then once you flip to hard mode, I just flipped that mic there. Once you flip to hard mode, the stamina cost goes up, so you're spending more to
and
play
then
higher level things.
On top of hard mode, there's ludicrous mode, or no, lunatic mode. I wish it was ludicrous.
Ludicrous speed, go.
But and then the other thing is that there's events as well. So every day. Right now they have a month-long thing that's like the opening celebration where they have 2 specific fights that I think reward you with more orbs than a normal mission would.
Yes.
Which is cool. But then also every day they have an easy and a normal and a hard battle that will allow you to gain a particular character. And you can get... God, there's so much to talk about with this game. The characters have stars, which is kind of their potential.
It looks, I only played for probably like 30 minutes, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was just barely scratching the surface. But it's so easy to get into.
Oh, it's super
it's
easy
so
to
easy
pick
to
up.
understand.
Yeah.
And that's perfect for a mobile game.
I mean, I was telling my drum student who's like, kid's like 9 years old, I think, maybe 10. I was like, he was asking me about mobile games that I play, and I was like, I've been playing this one, and I was like, you should play it too because we could play together because it's cross-platform.
Yeah.
So like Android and iOS can play together.
How do you play? See, I never even got to the point of multiplayer or anything.
There's a friend code, and you can enter the friend code and play.
Then you both kind of send each other items and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
But
what else? I was going to say something else about it too.
You probably weren't done either. I just wanted to say something.
That's fine.
No,
there's a lot to talk about with the game, and I feel like it's going to be hard for us to cover it all without spending an hour on it. But
so everyone is concerned with it being like a money sink, and it's not, because you don't have to put money into it if you don't want to. Like, it's definitely something where like there's no push for you to spend money unless you absolutely have to spend money to keep playing, which you don't, because they're always giving you the items you need to do the things you want to do in the game that would cost money.
Yeah.
If you are on Android, download the Google Rewards app, and you can do surveys to get free Google Play money. And then, I mean, that's what I did. I invested a bunch of that. Like, I had $30 some odd saved up in my Google Play account that I just used, whatever, $15 towards this game, because it's just money that I'm not going to use.
Yeah.
So
no, and that's the thing, is that it just requires patience after a certain point. Even like for the first 5 days of me playing that game, I never ran out of stamina.
Yeah.
But now that I'm trying to do stuff on hard mode and lunatic mode, I'm spending the stamina a little bit more. But even then, I just put it away for a couple hours, and then I pull it out later and play a few more rounds of something. So, it never feels like it's begging me to pay money. And the only problem, I don't know, if you're one of those people that will just sink money trying to get the Fire Emblem character that you want, then it might be a problem for you, because that might happen. Although maybe that would have been me, but I got the character that I wanted in my first pull. So I got Roy right off the bat.
I'm just not really partial to any of them.
Which is fine.
I'm just like, the artwork for this one's cooler than that.
So that's the
one.
thing, though.
Yeah,
there are certain characters that if you use them in the duels where you're playing other
like the
players,
arena mode.
you get bonuses for using those characters in battle. And if you have like all 4 of the characters in your party are characters in that bonus bracket, like you get a 4-time bonus. Like so there's incentive to get specific characters other than just like for nostalgic sake,
Yeah.
So
it's like when you're putting your money into like a slot machine and you bet $4 instead of the $1 minimum,
right?
You could get more out of it.
Yeah,
that's basically what you're telling me.
So a few things from Zach here. He says, as long as it's better than Clash Royale. I haven't played Clash Royale, but it seems like it probably is. I don't know. It's Fire Emblem, which is cool. He said, if only Square made a Chrono Trigger Tactics game mobile or not. Chrono Trigger would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Chrono Trigger, anything is sweet.
Yeah. And then he said, like the guy that spent $1,000 plus and didn't get the character he was after. Somebody spent $1,000.
I was telling Zach this last night when he mentioned that. That guy's an idiot.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I think I saw the post, somebody like The Verge or somebody like that posted a thing that was like, spending $1,000 in Fire Emblem Heroes does not guarantee that you get all the characters, which... Yeah, that's kind of how
they all pull at random.
Stuff goes. Yeah. So,
Yep.
Don't be an idiot, basically.
Yeah. Or be an idiot. If you're rich, use your money for something better.
Be an idiot so they get more money and start making more cool games to play.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think it's in one of the top grossing games right now on iOS, which is crazy for like a Japanese RPG kind of game. But that's cool.
And maybe that speaks to how easy it is to pick up.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it.
I mean, I usually don't touch that genre, but I was curious and checked it out. I think it's kind of cool.
Do you think you're going to play more? Because I get the feeling that you're not going to touch it again after we're done here.
No, it's just I was too busy trying to finish Dishonored that I didn't want to play that long.
Yeah. John, you're going to play more?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's the perfect poop game.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, like if I'm stuck at work and I'm on the embroidery machine and I have to sit next to it, it's a great game to pick up for 5 seconds and do that between like pieces that are running on the machine,
Yeah. No, I think it's great. It'll be something that I play for a little while, and hopefully with the different events and things that they run, they're doing something called a grand battle right now. And your character needs to be
after today.
Yeah, your character needs to be like level 25, and I have a team of 4 that are like level 24, level 25.
I've played every day.
Yeah,
that since it's been released, and my highest character is 16.
You're just not trying hard enough.
I guess
the game as Alex is.
I suppose.
I have a group of 4 that are at like 24, 25, and I still cannot beat that mission for the life of me.
Well, so you have one group that you've been focusing on?
Not necessarily,
because I have all of my team slots filled, and I've been trying to build all of them equally.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I did do that so that I would have a group of 4 that are all on the arena, the duel list, and that I could do that. But that's not really the case. Like I just like Roy so much more than all the other characters that's the team that I cared about. So I just kind of wanted to beef that one up a lot. And
I don't know what Roy looks like, but I'm just imagining Roy from Siegfried and Roy.
a little bit.
But Japanese anime.
Well, he's
style.
got shorter red hair, but he's got like darker clothes than that.
What if
That's
it's Roy
blues
from The
and red.
Office?
That would also be interesting.
Pam Beasley's ex-fiance
David Denman, yeah.
that wanted to beat up Jim Halpert.
Works for me. But anyway, it's cool. Everybody should check it out. It's free.
If you like those games, why not?
Yeah.
You know? Martha's greater than Roy, just saying, says Zach.
Yeah.
Them's fighting words.
No, I mean, I'm sure Zach could kick my ass with Marth over Roy in
with
Melee
Marth?
really easily.
Zach could do it with level 1 characters.
What kind of name is that? Marth?
Marth, yeah.
Like M-A...
Welcome to Japan. And welcome,
Dude,
welcome to localization in Japan.
All the names are weird in the game.
Yeah.
Except the ones that are like Japanese, like Setsuna.
Yeah. But no,
those seem normal to me for some reason.
I know people like Marth over Roy. I always liked Roy from Smash Brothers Melee just because his Marth is quicker, but Roy, they're essentially the same character. Marth is quicker. Roy's sword would do fire damage. Yeah.
I just thought it was short for Martha.
Nope.
Which
they're
makes
both
no
they're
sense,
both dudes.
but-
So
Marfa.
but no. The other cool
Or did
thing
you say
is
Marf?
the other
it's
cool
Marth.
thing
Marth,
is
TH.
Okay.
the other cool thing is that these characters are from all of the different Fire Emblem games. And there's a lot of them
like a
that
billion-
never
It is
came out
called
here.
Fire Emblem Heroes, so it should be like a collection from
Yeah,
all the
It is a
games
collection.
And absolutely. So
of heroes.
I've been getting the guys. Pat says, "This sure beats watching this live from the telescope in bedroom like I normally do."
You probably are close enough. Shit.
I've been picking up characters
He's like right there.
I've been picking up characters I got some from the first Game Boy game that came out. I got Roy, who's from a game that never came out in the US. I've gotten a few guys from the later Fire Emblem game. So it's kind of cool to see that. I wish they listed in like their profile what game they first appeared in or something like that. But they don't do that as of yet. And the other,
you can flip through. There's a listing of them that tells you, I think.
Is there?
In the game.
I'll have to look for it. But the only other thing that I would say is I think the story mode's a little disappointing because it's just kind of this weird.
It's just something to propel you
through battles.
Yeah,
because
to get you to level. I don't even.
All I got through was, oh hey, you need to go do this battle. Oh, actually, it was just a trick to get you away from where you really should be, and then that was it. That's all I've done of the story.
Well, like each chapter of the story takes you to a different land, and that land is the land of one of the games. So you're fighting characters from that particular game in that land. And I think there's 9 chapters plus the prologue or something like that. So, it's very loose story-wise, and I wish there was a little bit more behind it because there's usually a pretty...
But that's the thing.
Like a nice, compelling story.
Because of how casual the game is in general, I think putting too deep of a story in it would just turn people off.
I get that. But maybe they'll put a mode in later that allows you to... There's still a mode that's like a bunch of question marks to me. I don't know what it is.
Because it's Japanese, it'll be like Super Narrative Mode 2.0.5 or something
Sounds good.
like that.
Remix.
Yeah, Remix.
HD.
Romance
HD2,
Edition.
Yeah.
6.5.
Mm-hmm.
XD.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But anyway, that's Fire Emblem.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Nioh.
Yeah.
Nioh.
I'm glad I can at least say something about it now.
Okay. The beta sucked.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I thought so.
I wouldn't say so.
I did not. I played the beta for 15, maybe 20 minutes.
It wasn't even
and
the beta. I think that was the alpha demo. It was the
alpha.
first thing
I did
that came
both.
out.
I did the alpha and the beta,
okay.
and I was just kind of like, I'm not feeling this at all. But then everybody was saying how great the game is, and I was like, maybe we should do this. And I went out. I bought it on Amazon because I had some extra money in my Amazon account. And
yeah, we were talking about what are we going to talk about this week, and we're like, well, we can do Fire Emblem, but then also Nioh's coming out, and you guys are both big Bloodborne fans.
Yeah.
I would call myself a fan of Bloodborne. Maybe not as big as you guys, but
as difficult as this game is, and I'm not even out of the first boss fight. Well, technically, there's one boss at the end of the prologue.
Yeah, there's like a prologue, which
so
doesn't
easy,
really
though.
count.
He is super easy. And then like the first real boss, I've probably tried to fight him at least 15 times.
Yeah.
8 of them today, and I still can't beat him.
Yeah.
But that being said, I still love this game.
Yeah.
It's a ton of fun. It's super fun just to run around and do the combos and like
I gotta say, like, I didn't play it for very long.
Yeah.
I mean, I just finally today broke down and was like, you know what? I'll just go buy it. I went and I traded 2 games and got $51. I'm like, cool. This is going to cost me nothing.
You trade in?
Yeah. One of my 2 copies of Titanfall 2 and Steep that I was never going to play anyway, but I got it in the buy 2 get 1 free kind of deal.
That's good. You I think you technically came out ahead on that, right?
Sort of.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Anyways, Best Buy was out, and they checked like all the other Best Buys, and none of them had it.
Yeah, I think it's sold out not only like in most places in the U.S., but also in Japan. I think it's sold out pretty big. But
so yeah, and then you loaned me the rental.
Yeah.
So
Family Video got 1 copy of it, and I managed to rent it.
And the one dude there didn't even think they were going to get it.
Yeah,
right?
he's like, I don't think, like, the guy must have been an idiot.
Look at the flyer behind your head.
Yeah, it's on your guys' flyer. You know, it's right there.
I just work here at a CEO store.
It was funny because I went in on Tuesday.
I like that people can actually see that face you're making.
I went in on Tuesday, like close to open, and I was like looking at the PS4 games, and there was this other dude looking at the PS4 games, and then I kind of went over to the front desk and was like, "Hey, do you guys have this game that's in the flyer?" You
probably ruined that guy's day.
I might have ruined that because I think he came over and looked at it and was kind of like, and then he just kind of walked away. And I was like,
wah, wah, and he cried in a corner.
Sorry, guy. I know how Family Video works.
Sorry, guy at Family Video.
But anyway, I wasn't planning on trying this out because I kind of, as John said, the beta.
But that guy was planning on it.
I don't think the alpha.
Months.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think the alpha was bad in my opinion. I was just kind of like, oh, it's a Souls game, all right, and then I was like, I don't need to play
I was
any
like,
more of this.
oh, it's a Souls-like game. That's even fucking harder somehow.
Yeah, but now that I've gotten used to, I don't know what it is. It could be one of 2 things. Number one, I love the fact that this game isn't stupidly oblique, because when you go to level up, it's like, hey, if you level this up, you will be better with axes. That's all I need to know. That's all I got to do. I just put all the points in there, and I'm good, and everything's great.
Right.
That's awesome. I'm glad that that's a thing. I've been doing axes and sword, and then also a little bit into the Guardian. I want to call them Guardian Forces because that's what they were in Final Fantasy VIII, but I can't remember what they're actually called. Guardian Spirit?
I think so. Guardian Spirits, yeah.
Guardians?
What is the main character's name?
It's got to be Nioh, right? No, it's William, yeah.
William?
Yes.
Okay, I totally missed that.
Odd Japanese translation again.
No. The dude is English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're playing a white guy who goes to Japan.
I thought he just was Japanese, just happened to look English.
He got caught up in some shit, and he dives off the London Tower into the water and gets swept off to Japan.
If you listened, if you guys listened to the story at all, you would understand that he was an English guy.
I'd rather make my own. Okay?
Sent by the Queen.
I commend them for having
a story.
You can actually
having
follow.
A story, but having like actual Japanese voiceover.
Yeah.
But I can't follow that. I can't read what's going on when I'm being attacked by a fucking samurai. Like, so if I go to loot a dead body and it releases the spirit and the spirit talks to you like it does in the game.
Yeah.
And I can't understand it in English, I'm completely missing everything it's saying in the subtitle because I'm on such high alert in this game that I can't pay attention to that.
Well, I don't touch those bodies until I know that there's nothing that can attack me within a certain radius.
That's
kind of how I do
idea.
It. But
I also don't understand when those bodies appear and when they don't. Like it just seems like randomly I'll die. I'll come back. There'll be like 13 of those bodies around, and then the next time around there's like 1.
Oh, do you mean the bloodstain type things?
Like with the sword in the ground.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's not what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'll summon other people's characters with their loadout. Essentially,
okay.
You can fight them and get a piece of their loot. And it also gives you like reputation points, which then you can spend on little upgrades. Like, I can get
that stuff was not explained.
No, and so there's still things,
but it's also something you can completely ignore and keep playing the game.
Absolutely,
yes.
That does not affect.
Yeah,
things.
that was what I was going to say. Is this game again? It seems like they made it slightly easier to pick up. I think Brian and I were talking about this on the way over. The intro in London in the prologue is a really nice way to just kind of throw you in the game.
Yeah.
and get you to learn the very basic mechanics of it before being like, okay, now you have to do the training mode, which gives you the 3 stances and teaches you how to use your key properly and all of that.
I admit I did pull like a lesser version of what Alex pulled in Bloodborne.
By missing
I didn't see the fucking chest with the sword, and I went and tried to attack the guy with my fists when I was, buck naked.
I think I killed the guy.
I did that like 3 times, and I was like, what is going on here?
I think I killed the guy with my fists, and then I got the sword afterwards.
But that immediately made me think back to the missing the gun
in Bloodborne.
Yeah, Zach, it is pretty easy to pick up. It's just a pain in the ass once you get a little bit further into it.
I haven't beaten the first boss yet. Yes.
It's easy to pick up in terms of it's very.
It is not as oblique as a Souls game.
Like the combat and how it works is much more clearly defined.
Yes.
And like watching, like the feedback you get from the enemies is much easier to follow.
Yep.
Like trying to figure out what the enemies in the Souls and Bloodborne games like are gonna do takes a while. Like once you've got it down, you're good, but like the feedback isn't quite as clear.
Yeah, like the
visual
there are
feedback.
definitely visual tells for like how many, like if this guy is probably gonna go for a combo as opposed to a one-off hit. At least so far in like the first area that I had gone through. But in Bloodborne, like I played a little bit of Bloodborne today just to make sure that I wasn't crazy. And there are moments where you're walking up to they will attack you at the very last second, and you have no indication of what kind of attack they're going to do or if they're going to follow
sometimes
it up with
it's just
else.
like they'll decide to just go crazy on you for no reason.
Yep.
And I feel like it's a little...
The only way that I would say, the only time that it gets there, I would say, is in that boss. That boss is hard to read sometimes. Like, unless you really know how to maximize your distance with that guy at all turns, he will beat you down when you're not even looking. And it's very difficult.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to talk about, this is probably the only thing I really don't like about it, and this is something that's very. I don't know if you'll think this is stupid or not, but
this is stupid. I don't even want to hear it.
When you get like knocked over, like for instance in that boss fight when he like hits you with the wrecking ball, and you go down.
Is it an actual wrecking
ball?
If you
move the movement joystick, your character does not move at all. You have to hit X to get up, to dodge out of the way. Like you can't move the stick to wake up. Yeah. That that was something that was completely unexplained that bothered me because otherwise you're just laying on the ground trying to move, like why am I not moving, what the hell's going on,
trying to roll around.
I guess that was,
and then the guy's smashing me with his wrecking ball.
Well, I mean X is the dodge button.
So I guess that wasn't
but it's not even trying to dodge, it's just getting up from a prone position. Like there's nothing explaining that.
You know what it didn't explain to me until it happened several times is when somebody's on the ground, how you can do the attack on them, the finishing attack. Move. It didn't bring up that tip until that happened 4 or 5 times. So I didn't know what to do. I was trying to swing at them and stuff, and
how are you swinging?
Couldn't hit them. Yeah, like that.
Like that.
A little bit like this and around.
You guys are
all over the place.
But no, the
like Megan playing Fruit Ninja.
I don't think I have that problem because I mostly just start mashing buttons when I get hit when that guy throws the wrecking ball.
So you just hit all the buttons.
Oh my God, I need to get up, and I just I don't know.
But that's the thing. I'm sitting there trying to move, and literally, if you move the stick at all, he doesn't do anything. He just lays on the ground, and you have to hit X, and X doesn't even move you out of the way. It just makes you stand
up so that
you can move.
Yeah,
that's a mechanic where I'm like, why is that? That should not exist like that.
That should be in the training mode somewhere. There should be
or
a point
just
where
make it so when I move the character, he gets up.
The
and
finishing
moves to
move
the
thing should have been in the
to.
tutorial too.
There's a lot of stuff that could have been in the tutorial, but for some reason, I don't know. Maybe that's the fact that I have played through some Bloodborne. I am now. It's the cumulative effect of playing.
The mentality from that game is definitely very helpful. I easily got into playing this game because I've played those games.
Yes,
I think.
Yes.
But at the same time, I could immediately notice the differences and appreciate them.
Yeah. And the whole stance thing, I thought
It
I
was
was gonna
awesome.
be. I thought I was just gonna be a low stance all the time because low stance lets you move quickly, keeps you in like a defensive form.
But you don't do much damage.
You don't do a lot of damage, but that's okay because if you can survive another day, you can go in and fight, and like you can get more hits on somebody.
But I mean, like some of those little guys with the high stance, you can go in like wreck them in like 3 hits.
That's what I learned. So I started running around with high stance and then just kind of like waiting for that first attack from everybody, and then doing the. I was
1,
using
2,
the
3.
axe. Were you guys using
I
was
used an axe
using-
in the beginning
I'm
in the
using dual
prologue,
swords.
which was cool.
Yeah.
I'm dual wielding.
Dual
I
swords.
do that. Dual swords is my secondary, and my primary is I can't think of the name of the weapon. The
Kurosagawa or something like that.
yeah,
The
it's
chain,
the awesome
chain
weapon
sickle.
that I really wanted in For Honor. That's not in that game.
Yeah. The chain with the sickle at the end.
Yes, that
Yeah, I was doing
that is amazing.
axes and single sword were my two.
Kusarigama.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the what?
When Brian sent us that message earlier today, the fact that I can use the Kurosagama makes me fucking day.
It was a typo.
I read it in a British accent because he says makes me fucking day, and I said, "Is that right, mate?"
It was supposed to be my day, not me day, but yes.
And then you said something about Australian.
That's how I imagined this
I
accent.
don't know. Anyway, yeah, no, but high stance with an axe, you can just destroy things in like 2 or 3 hits, and it's great. It's fantastic. I really wish that I haven't found it yet for either of the weapons that I use, but I don't have any kind of like. The finishing moves are like that, but I want a move that if you sneak up behind somebody, just
there just needs to be
obliterates them.
an instant kill.
Which
like Bloodborne had.
yeah, which like high stance heavy hit is like you can if you get a good combo with that, a 1-2 with that, then it takes away a lot of the health.
I do like the fact that there's some decapitation and stuff.
Yeah.
You can keep dismembering the body if you follow through. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Like if you kill someone, like say your combo, you're doing 4 hit, like square, 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 triangle. If by the 3rd square they're dead, when you hit the triangle, it like you'll cut off their arms or their legs, and you'll see them like fly. Like
Yeah, some really weird shit happens with the chain whip thing.
Zach says something interesting here. He says completely random, but if they ever finally make a new Star Wars Jedi Outcast game, I think it would be epic to do it in a Soul
holy
style.
shit!
So that I was thinking that today when I was driving, I was like, how can they make a science fiction like Souls game if there's no melee weapons? Then I was like, but what if you were a Jedi?
Yeah. What?
And I was like, oh my god,
that would be awesome. What if From Software just made like Star Wars Jedi?
that would be so rad. That would be so awesome.
That'd be
I would be so
amazing.
down.
Could you imagine how awesome the artwork would be for that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, it'd be beautiful.
Even if they use the stuff from like the discarded Battlefront with like the evil Obi-Wan, like that artwork was awesome, and they should just do that.
Speaking of artwork, like how do you guys feel about how this game looked?
It's not like the greatest looking game in the world. It looks really good, and it like the frame rate. I haven't had any issues.
Which
with frame
mode
rate
did you
except
choose
for
to
stuff
pick
that's like way off
or
in the
to
distance?
play it in though? Because it asks you like
there's
3
action or
different
cinematic
options,
or
like a blend between the two or something weird.
I don't remember.
There's one where it prioritizes resolution, where you may get dips in frame rate. There's one where it prioritizes frame rate, where your resolution will be lower, and then I think there's one that will variable both of them or something. I don't know. It's something like that.
I picked the fast action one or whatever.
I picked the steady frame rate.
That's probably like the shittiest looking one.
I think on the Pro, it all looked gorgeous.
Does it look better on the Pro?
I don't know.
I will say
is it Pro enhanced? Can you look it up?
From the alpha,
it has a Pro. I mean, it came out
okay.
after the Pro, so it has to have Pro support in it.
From the alpha, they polished the shit out of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the look of it aesthetically, amazing.
Yeah.
Like
I like. I mean, I do like the way it looks, but yeah, like the textures are pretty shitty.
Pardon the barking, everyone.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just like a more clean look to it than what I'm used to. I mean, playing like the Souls games.
I'm okay with that.
There's so much going on with the artwork in that game.
The game differentiates itself in a few different ways, and I think the fact that it looks cleaner and it's not like depressing to be in the world necessarily, I kind of like. But
yeah, it doesn't have that like super ominous, like foreboding feel.
I think once you get out of the first level, you'll see more. Like so one of the things that happens with this game, the first level, it takes you from the prologue into this first level. You play the first level, and then you find out that there's a world map, and it's just a world map of like Japan, and there's different sections of Japan that have different missions in them. So it opens up a side story. 2 Twilight missions, which are supposed to be super hard that I haven't even tried.
With vampires.
And then there's a third.
Those are the romance missions, right?
There's like main mission number 2. So when you do the side story, it's a remix of the previous level. And it starts you at the end where the ship is.
Okay.
And you have to fight all the way back through and kill a few more demons, essentially. Yeah. But they block off parts of the level. The things aren't on fire.
Classic Destiny move right there.
Things aren't on fire anymore.
Probably looks like a totally different level because you're playing it backwards.
No, I mean they make it look a little bit different because it's also kind of at like magic hour. There's some sunlight going on, and it makes it look pretty, and it's interesting. It's visually interesting.
That's cool.
The second level itself is kind of built into the side of a mountain, and it's nerve-wracking because they give you this like thing that's like 1.5 times the width of your character essentially to walk on, with a fence in some areas and no fence in other areas, and then they have guys popping out of you that can just knock you off of the side of the mountain.
You can do the same to them.
You can, but if you aren't paying attention, you're gonna
swing yourself off the side.
You're gonna high stance your axe right off the side of that mountain.
Some of those weapons do not play well with walls.
No.
I noticed. The spear, especially.
But the thing is that it's obviously the cave systems are darker, but it's actually daytime outside, so you get a little bit more like dynamic lighting and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think it looks really good on the Pro, but I think you'll see more of the world later on and kind of give some merit to the visual style. Where obviously the Bloodborne has a very distinct look to it, and I think it's great. It's also super depressing and like really dirty and gross and weird.
Yeah.
So,
Dark Souls 3 is very much like that too.
Yeah.
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 Not quite as dark and depressing.
What else about Nioh? I don't know if there's a whole lot more to say. I mean,
it's great.
I really like the combat set. I feel like
I thought the stances were going to be too much to handle. I haven't mastered switching stances in the midst of combat, which is something.
Was it key pulse or whatever?
Yeah, so you can unlock.
That's hard to master.
You can unlock. That's the other thing is that there's a skill tree in this game, unlike Bloodborne, where it allows you to do more with the weapons that you find, and you can learn skills that allow you to recover stamina by switching stances. You can usually recover stamina by hitting block at the right time.
It's not block. It's
R1.
It's
just like the stance switch button. But you hit R1 when a certain part of the animation occurs, and it allows you to recover more stamina than you normally would at that moment.
I wish it wasn't that button. I don't know if it's reconfigurable. I didn't look.
I don't know,
because I find hitting a shoulder button on a moment's notice is not the easiest thing to do when you're using the other buttons, but that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know what else you're doing with your index finger.
It takes a longer depression to.
For
something you have to like time.
Is this where we start making fun of Brian's hands as well?
No,
no. It's if you want, we can go.
The shoulder buttons have a longer depression to them, like I feel, than the other buttons. They're just not as quick to use.
Oh, Zach says, John, you should address weapon familiarity since you're on that topic.
So I was talking to him about this last night, and how this game is super elaborate.
Yeah.
But they were making fun of me on the Twitch chat that it is. I do feel that it is slightly. It's easy to pick up,
but hard to master.
Yes, because there's a lot of stuff under the surface.
Yeah.
So one of the things under the surface is this weapon familiarity, and as you become more familiar with a weapon, even if it's your particular weapon, type that you are tied to, you're allowed to choose two.
Yep.
For mine, it's the dual sword. So I'm familiar with the dual swords. When you pick up a weapon from an enemy and you use it, and you become more familiar with that specific weapon, it makes it worth more when you go to make offerings at the shrines. And when you make offerings at the shrines, the more offerings you give, you start getting items back from the offerings.
Well,
and the familiarity also makes it so that your weapon is stronger in battle as well.
That's what I assumed.
It makes it stronger
do more
in battle.
damage. It probably takes up less stamina because you're familiar with using it.
It enhances some of the attributes on the weapon too. Like your weapon might be more useful against the devil, like the yokai, the ghosts, instead of normal humans, or it'll help you, like maybe the parry is particularly strong with this weapon, and it'll be even better once you're fully familiar with it.
Right.
So it can do a few different things. Zach says, do stances really, or no, sorry. Joey says, do stances really matter? Also favorite stance.
They absolutely matter.
Stances do matter, but it's really, it comes down to your play style. Because if you're one of the hit 'em hard and fast, then high stance is good for you. If you're one of those people that is like, I want to get a few hits in, pull out, and then get back in.
Mostly, but I feel like it also helps to use certain stances against certain types of enemies.
Yeah.
And it also would depend on the weapon you're using too. So like for instance, with the dual swords, I walk around high stance pretty much all the time because my high stance triple combo is like super powerful. I can take out most of the characters in this specific area I'm in by the time the combo's done.
Yeah.
The only ones I can't are the heavily armored samurai guys.
Yep.
Those take a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the high stance is great for like the heavily armored stuff. When you fight some of these like little what are they called, the walkers and the dwellers, like some of those demon guys,
the yokai,
you want to switch to the lower stance because they crawl on the ground and you can't fucking hit them with the medium or the high stance unless you're doing like a big sweeping overhead blow, which is usually at the end of your combo. So you waste 3 or 4 hits getting to the end of your combo to actually get one hit that lands. That's totally, you might as well just switch your stance right before you even engage the enemy to begin with. But yeah, like Alex was saying, that it really, like, high stance is like heavy and slow, mid stance is like moderate speed and moderate attack, and then low stance is super fucking fast attacks, but it gives you like, they don't do any damage. So but what's sweet is like when you're in low stance and you're doing a combo, it's like 10 hits long. So you're just like, bah, 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 like just nailing the button. And then you're just like, okay, triangle. And you hit triangle and you do your finishing blow. And it's just, it feels good. Yes. Even if you're button mashing, you still feel like you're doing something sweet, like, which is cool, you know? So if you're not someone who times their attacks properly, like, that's something that like makes the stances a little more interesting, is like how you can formulate the combos based on the stance.
Yeah.
That being said, you can't get through the game just button mashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does matter. The stances are like, you definitely want to change stance not often, but depending when you're going through an area, you probably want to play mid stance for the most part, learning the area, and then you can kind of take your chances, like once you die and restart, like blowing through the area with high stance.
Joey's asking if there's poise. Poise is the thing in Dark Souls that lets you stagger or stop from being staggered.
Yeah, I never really.
Joey, am I right about that? Let me know, and then I can respond. Because in this game, you have the ability to stagger opponents, but I don't know that there's an attribute that directly affects that or not.
Is. It's
there's skills that do, I think.
What is it called? What are the attributes?
There's like body,
heart,
stamina, strength.
Toughness is the attribute that it's not in the list of attributes that you can upgrade when you're leveling up, but it's part of one of the things that levels up when you upgrade strength and stamina, I think. The toughness is what you use so that enemies, it makes it harder for them to break your stance.
Okay.
And you also, through the skill tree, learn to do parries.
You can do parries, and then there's also some skills are called out as this will do a lot of damage to your enemy's stamina.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is that obviously the high stance attacks will do more damage to their stamina as well, and that will allow you to stagger them more quickly. So it's certainly a thing. Can you stagger with low stance? Maybe, but it's gonna take more work.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like,
I don't know if okay.
You can stagger with low stance, but it's like if your enemy is at the end of a combo and you come in with some strong hits, then you might stagger them with your low stance.
Right. Your finishing move might cause
with low stance. If you get the first hit in, you can get like 10 hits in, like John was saying.
Right.
And they're basically almost dead if it's like a normal average Joe enemy.
Right.
You need like one good attack.
It is possible
so you don't
to
even
stagger.
Need to stagger them.
It is possible to stagger with low stance, but you need to you either need to wait for the end of their combo or you need to engineer it right. Like I wasn't focusing on staggering anybody in particular. Like it kind of is easy with the axe and high stance because it would be kind of like, oh, this guy just tried like a 3 or 4 sequence combo. If I come in right now with the 2 strong hit high stance axe hits that I do, I will stagger him and then I can go do the finishing move.
Right.
So that I was factoring in a little bit, but I wasn't paying enough attention to be able to talk about it like some people do about poise. Like I know that one of the people that I follow, he now writes for Waypoint. His name is Patrick Klepek. I think he wrote like 1,500 words on poise in Dark Souls. So obviously
pros on poise.
Pros on poise. I don't know. Hopefully, but yeah, I don't know that I know enough about it to satisfy your needs, Joey. But you can find somebody else who does.
Oh, and one of the other things. One of the other things that this kind of bugs me. It's not like a game breaker by any means or anything that like I'm not going to stop playing because of it. But when you do an execution move and it doesn't actually kill the guy because you're not strong enough.
Yeah.
If I have the opportunity to execute a person, they should fucking die.
Yeah.
Like if I have the opportunity to run up to them and like run both of my swords through their stomach, they're dead.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have a sliver of life left and come back from that.
Yeah.
I will say there were a lot of times where I thought I killed enemies and they weren't dead because they didn't have anything on their health bar that I could see.
It was super low.
And they were just kind of like...
Yeah, I didn't really have that problem because I started to realize when I wasn't going to kill them, so I would just be able to... Because even if they're down or staggered and you do your finishing move, then you can usually get one more fast hit in that will finish them off.
Right.
From what I found. But
yeah, the finishing move thing is kind of misleading because it doesn't finish.
It doesn't
them
necessarily
off
finish them.
most
No,
of
it finishes the combo. It doesn't finish the person. It's the finishing move of the combo.
Not necessarily. Because you can do a combo to stagger somebody, and like you need to stagger somebody to do the finisher. That is what they are calling a finishing move. The end of your combo might be a thing from your skill tree, but it's not necessarily a finishing move as far as I understand.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Sure.
I got you. Yeah, but when the reticle turns to red.
Yeah.
That's when you can do the finish move. Okay.
The other thing that we haven't talked about at all, there are guns and bows in this game, ranged weapons.
Yes, they're very easy to use and they're nice.
They're awesome.
Super powerful.
They're very powerful. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, the gun was a parry in Bloodborne. The guns in this will kill a guy.
Well, you could get longer range guns in Bloodborne that are actually useful for damaging targets too.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, they're for parrying.
Well, and the thing that I like about this game is if you use the bow against a guy that doesn't have any kind of head covering on, you're likely going to pop his head off and he's dead. You
can aim below the head coverings.
Yeah, you can aim and that's the thing. If you can get in front of them and hit inside of their head covering, then that'll kill them too.
I only used them in the tutorial, but I was like, whoa, one hit kill. This is not what I was expecting.
It's great.
I'm used to them just as drawing targets away from the
it's a great way to pull as well because there's some
yeah.
guys that are too strong to be able to kill with even a headshot.
But there are rocks in this game, just like
there are rocks to help you pull as well. But then also the gun you can headshot a guy with armor on his head and it'll destroy him he's dead at that point too. Zach says kunai spam all day. That's the other thing that I didn't really get into. I didn't use the ninjutsu or the other magic. Moyo. I can't remember what it was.
I think it's Moyo.
I don't even know. What
I think you're right.
About.
So there's two.
The ninjutsu isn't really magic as much as it's like crafting.
Yeah, so you can craft poisons and paralytics and
daggers and shurikens.
Daggers and shurikens that you can use on enemies. But then also the magic one will allow you to imbue your sword with fire. There's items that allow you to do it too, but you can imbue your sword with different elemental attributes and things elemental attributes.
Yeah.
And I haven't done any of that, and I was just thinking like maybe that's what I need to do to beat the fucking boss.
Mine was specking the way that I've been specking my guy out. That's pretty low, so I don't think I was gonna get a lot of good use out of either of those.
There is a good chance that's what you have to do if they're taking another like.
If they're adding another mechanic
from
like
one of the Souls games or whatever, because like using fire bombs and shit on the bosses makes a huge difference in the game.
I'm assuming the dude's a fire demon and I need to use water elements, but I don't know.
Not necessarily, because when my guardian spirit is the dog and it has a fire element to it, and it was still doing fire damage to the guy.
Oh, okay.
So I don't necessarily know. Zach didn't even know about the magic buff text. Sounds awesome. Joey says, are finishers like riposte or backstabs? Kind of.
Yeah, like you'll stagger an opponent, he'll be laying on the ground, and then you can just stab them in the back.
Yeah, it's
or
not.
Stomach,
so that's the thing.
That's
what I was saying earlier, Joey, is that I wish that there was something where you sneak up behind a guy and you can do like a crazy move on him. But as far as I know, I haven't found it on the skill tree yet.
Blood happen.
It
like
doesn't
Bloodborne.
mean that it's not there. There are certain skills that are hidden.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a thing where like if I'm locked onto an enemy and I walk up behind them and they haven't noticed me, I should be able to do a sneak attack by like holding triangle and doing a heavy sneak or something like that. And it would just instantly kill them. There's no reason why that shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but no, I like this game a lot. Like I like it more than I like Bloodborne. And
I think despite the fact that I can't get past the first fucking boss, I think it's a great game.
Yeah.
I want to play more of it. Same thing with Blood. I mean, I still, like we were talking about earlier, like now, 2 years
Since
later,
I
I'm
couldn't
still
buy
playing
Nioh,
Bloodborne.
I'll probably play Bloodborne or Dark Souls this week.
I popped Bloodborne back in, and I'm kind of like, this is great. It doesn't run that well. Like it kind of, now that I am noticing it, it doesn't run very well. So I'm kind of waiting
Dark
until
Souls
Boost Mode comes
better.
out. I'm sure it does, but I don't even necessarily know that I would like Dark Souls. Like from the Dark Souls that I play, I don't know. It would be fine.
Dark Souls 3 was great.
Well, yeah, it takes a lot of cues from Bloodborne, so it plays more like that than anything.
So I don't know. I will probably just play some Bloodborne when Boost Mode comes out, and then I will probably pick up Nioh when it's cheaper. But I would say it's totally worth the $60 or $48.
Yeah, I've heard it's really long.
It's supposed to be like 70 hours long, and there's like 35 bosses in it or something like that.
I mean,
so,
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm like anxious to get home and keep playing it right now.
Yeah. I'm
anxious to pee, so I hope we're almost done.
No. Now we're going to talk about the third game we didn't tell Brian about. It's called Waterfalls. There's dripping water. Think about the water, Brian. Yeah. Anyway. Joey says, I think backstabs are on the skill list, but you have to buy it with points. Maybe. That might be a thing. I don't...
Maybe it's weapon specific, too, or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is that it might,
with
it might
the dual
depend on the
swords,
weapon.
I should be able to walk up behind someone and scissor their head off. That's what I want to do.
That would make sense if the dual swords have one. The axe might not have one, but maybe the single sword does.
Right.
I don't know. I was mostly looking at I ran around with the sword a little bit after I was like, okay, I can destroy all these people with the axe. Let me play with the sword a little bit and figure out what to do. And obviously with the sword, you can get a lot more hits in your combo. Like with the axe, I only needed to do maybe 2 or 3 hits, but with the sword, I was able to like get a strong in and then 4 softer hits, and I like the variability of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dual swords and the thing I can never remember the name of is awesome.
And the fact we didn't talk about this is it's a little bit of a loot game too, because you can pick up item names. Have Zach says Alex prefers asking people questions face to face. Yes, I do, Zach. Very true. But no, it's got a little bit of the Diablo loot system in it where, you pick up items like white is common, yellow is rare.
No, uncommon.
Blue is
rare.
Blue, okay, fine. Blue is rare, and then purple
exotic.
is maybe there's something a little higher? I don't know.
Ultra rare. Maybe.
I don't know.
I haven't seen anything higher. I've only gotten
Nioh or
purple.
Diablo?
In Nioh.
I was gonna say in Diablo it goes up to orange
yeah.
and then green for set items.
Oh, and the other nice thing is, I don't know if this is a thing in Bloodborne or not, but there is an item that you can purchase to totally respec your character. Once you beat that first level, you can go into the shop, because you do accrue gold as well as souls or whatever you want. Amrita.
Yeah.
But you can spend money on an item that isn't particularly expensive that will allow you to completely respec your character in terms of
that's nice.
Leveling up and that kind of stuff. So that makes me feel better and more willing to go and spend these souls and level up into things and try and make my character better, because if I don't know that I can do that, then I become very apprehensive at leveling up, and it makes me want to like look at a guide. And then
can you do that repeatedly or no?
I don't know if you can do it more than once or not. I don't know if it's
or maybe the cost goes up each time you
the cost might go up, or maybe you just need to buy another one each time. I think it's something like 10,000 gold, which by the time I was done with the first level, I had like 22,000 gold.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big deal, but no, the game is awesome. And
props to Team Ninja.
Koei Tecmo, Sony. This is a Sony exclusive game, which is rad.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's really good.
It's very good.
Highly recommended.
Yeah. Totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's how we feel about Nioh.
Yeah.
What else is going on with the network? Horror Movie Yearbook's about to do 2002, right?
Yeah, 2002 is going to be their next episode. I think last week. Was it last Friday? No, it wasn't. No, it was 2 weeks ago. They did
70.
No. It was
98.
Yeah, 98. And they did kind of their WB thriller period. So now they're going to go into 2002.
The WB thriller period.
Yeah, and they're also working. We're trying to schedule out some time. They ran a poll a little while back, and they're going to do a commentary for Jason Takes Manhattan.
Nice.
So we just got to get that recorded. That's going to happen soon. Other than that, there's not too much going on. I'm working on a thing for film nerds called Collected Thoughts, where I am taking news. We used to do a lot more film news earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
And I went back to the first episode and noticed that we talked about the fact that they announced that the X-Men, the follow-up to X-Men First Class was going to be Days of Future Past. And then I searched in our website for X-Men Days of Future Past, and I collected each story where we talked about it up until the review. And I'm going to put it all into one big episode so you can hear kind of where our thoughts were throughout the movie, and then you can listen to the final review. So look for that. And I'm going to do that a few different times, and that'll be kind of in between it's going to be, every month or two, that kind of thing, because it's not a ton of work, but I don't want to spend too much time listening to the stuff that we've already done.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sounds good.
That's what's going on.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, while you're listening or even watching along, why not head over to MidwestPodcastNetwork.com/support. Check out all the various ways you can support us. You can check out the support store and buy t-shirts, hoodies, koozies. You can just donate if you don't feel like actually buying anything. Also, check out our Amazon affiliate link where you can purchase things on Amazon, and we get a little bit of money from that. And don't forget to rate and review us on your favorite podcatchers such as iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Podcasts, or Podbean, or wherever else you're getting your podcasts from. Pod. I don't think that's one, but that should be one. As always, if you like what you hear, even if you don't, please do send us feedback via email at MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com or via Twitter at MGN Podcast. And don't forget to add us on Instagram at MidwestGameNerds. Thanks again, guys, for
Please
being
come
here.
watch us on Twitch, because this is the thing that we're doing. And, it's fun to talk to Zach and Joey and Pat and everything while we're recording here.
Yeah.
Pat just said, good job. Maybe next time you are attractive ladies instead.
We'll work on it.
Yeah. I'll have Megan do my makeup.
We should maybe use this green wall here.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to work,
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
but we'll see.
But anyways, thanks again, everybody, for listening in. Those watching, we really appreciate it. Please do stick around and check us out next time. I don't know what are we gonna do? What's the next episode?
God, let's see.
What comes out?
2 weeks from now.
Will that be right after our Switch?
No.
No.
It'll be right before Switch comes out.
No.
Does Horizon come out on the 24th?
I don't know. Look it up. You have a computer in front of you.
Yeah, I know. It might be Horizon Zero Dawn. There wouldn't be a lot of time to do it.
It'll be right before.
Yeah, I mean, we could maybe either do Horizon or we could delay. And what the problem is, if we delayed, then we won't have much time to play with the Switch.
Right.
but we're not going to have much time to play Horizon either. So we'll see what it's going to be. But
28th.
It's coming out the 28th. Okay, so then it won't be Horizon. We'll look at the list. We'll see if there's anything else coming out. Otherwise, maybe we'll follow up with John on Nioh. I don't know if Brian will end up buying it now or not, but
yeah, I mean, if I get a chance to,
once you can find a copy.
I mean, I could buy it digitally, but that's just.
You buy it on? Do you have Prime?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say it's still probably got the discount if you bought it through Prime, but
I was thinking about getting Prime though.
You could pay me and I'll buy it for you on Prime.
Whatever. I mean, I have like $50 some to spend at Best Buy. I want to spend it.
You can spend it on a Switch game.
I could just order it on there.
Yeah, just order it online.
Yeah, you could order it on bestbuy.com.
Yeah, anyways.
Yep.
Thanks again, everybody. We will see you
Joey wants to
time.
hear about For Honor. I don't know about that.
Maybe Brian will talk about that if he ends up getting it, but probably not.
Zach wants us to discuss the idea of Star Wars Outcast in Souls format.
It's going to be the greatest game ever.
Yeah, it would be really awesome. We can talk about it. Yeah, that would be great.
Anyways, thanks again for the third time for listening and watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.